And we are live. Let's do this. All right. I started it up, and literally, as soon as I started up my live stream a few hours ago, actually this morning, I got called into work. So I had to end the stream. I had like, I think a minute and change. And it, I was going to like basically save it so you guys can see like that difference, but there wasn't even enough to really justify saving what I had with the first stream that happened this morning. So we're gonna do this. Do it again. I am worried that I'm just, as much as I'm struggling and as much as I'm fighting against it and stuff like that, I'm fading away. And it's, I think everybody goes through that, and so I'm not unique in what that means. And I think it's not really a regret, but my biggest disappointment where my life is concerned is that I had so much, I still have so much more, and I don't, you can see that there is, video after video after video after video, and I'm barely even scratching the surface. And that's pretty much how my life, the first 50 years, because there might be 50 more years, but it's pretty much how my life has, my modus operandus has been. And I don't know how to change it. I was going to get, and I might still do it. I might still do what somewhat planned. As I was going to, yesterday I watched the anime Rent a Girlfriend, and a question was asked, would I date somebody who works as a rental girlfriend, if they wanted to take it beyond the rental thing. And I don't know how we would have met. I don't even, I'm out. I don't date anymore, so I don't even, I'm not on the market, as it were, to date anybody. But before, there was, when I was dating, there was online types of dating. There were, plenty of bars, that you could go meet people. There was definitely meet and greets and things like that. And, plenty of things that I would have had at my disposal. My life had never been in a position where I've never been in a position where I would have had to hire an escort or, rent a girlfriend or, have something like that. I had always had, when I was dating, I wasn't strictly a monogamous dater. The people that I've dated, had other people. The difference between it is that when they set the rules of our dating relationship to where we're supposed to be monogamous, I was monogamous. If they decided that they needed, to secretly and lie and go outside of the boundaries of what our relationship was and cheat on me, which I am not. I have never been that type of person to cheat on somebody because it's not worth it. But I've always been fairly honest, even though some of my honesty had been misinterpreted and misread, if you can say that, that it was I was kidding or I was lying or I was saying something that wasn't true. And the truth of the matter is that I never I don't hide those things. I do hide my feelings. I do hide who I am. I do as you saw the story with the storytelling, I told lots and lots of stories, but when I've always found that my word and the things that I say, even in a joking fashion, there's truth to it. There's I said it in a joking way because that was an easier pill for the people that I was saying those things to swallow, and they thought I was just kidding. That gets into the rules. Now, when I first started dating, I didn't have those rules. The rules came out of the necessity that I had to go forward and with I had always been approached. I had always had people requesting my time, and it's one of the reasons why one of the first rules for dating, I don't know, it gets kind of iffy when the first rule is, but I always talk about because big question is who pays, and I had to make it so that one, I have even when I made a lot of money, I have never been a person of unlimited funds. And so I had to make the rule because I'm not, and the rule is really simple. The rule is the person who pays is the person who asks. If I ask a woman or even a man, it doesn't matter. But if I usually, most of the people I dated were of the opposite sex. But if I solicited for somebody's time, if I'm asking for their time, I paid. I paid for everything. I paid for the way the means of getting there. The meals, if the meals were included in this, the activity, whatever the activity was, movie, whatever the date entailed, even carriage rides and presents, and if we went shopping, I paid for everything. That has been the core of it. If somebody asked me to go on a date, it's not my date, it's their date. They're there to impress me. They're there to get to know me as I get to know them. But it's, they pay the whole thing. They pay for everything. Um, I usually don't have expectations on dates. Even a kiss goodnight. I never, especially if I'm not the one asking. My expectations are rock bottom. This is an activity or a movie or a restaurant that this person wants to go to. Is can be there to impress me, but it's their that is their this is them showing who they are. And it could just be a trip to McDonald's, going to a spot, a lover's place, and spending the entire date in a parked car. It could be that. It's their date, and that's what they planned. And sometimes it doesn't go to a second date. Sometimes there's an expectation of me to ask for the second date, and I usually don't. And um, you know, I have had very impressive. I have been very impressed and stuff like that, and I have one upped the date. I have gone to sporting events, and I'm not really a sports person, so I would go to a sporting event. But my expectation has always been if I was, like it doesn't have to be a romantic date. That's why I included, men and women in that. And even though most of my romantic dates have been with women, most of the people that I approach, because I want to get to know, are usually the opposite sex. But it could just be if somebody wants to be a buddy. Conventions. Used to go to a lot of conventions. Used to be, big nerd. So used to have all of that. Here I am saying I used to be a big nerd. I still am a huge nerd. So obviously, if somebody knows that that's something that I like, I mean, obviously, I'm definitely going to say yes. Again, I always keep my expectations to zero. No expectations. There are projects and stuff like that that I have done with people, cosplay, fabrications, and things like that. And most of the time, it's my gift to them, even if it's not the date, but we've taken those things and we brought them gaming conventions and stuff like that. Love I'm right there with you, and I have lots of gaming things that I do, miniatures and things like that I would bring with me. But that's not, obviously that they're not going to pay to have, me to have the pieces if I already have them. That's not what I'm talking about. But as far as like tickets, sometimes, if they want to get t-shirts and things like that, something to remember the convention by, I usually don't pay. Meals, I usually don't pay. If I'm their guest, I usually have the expectation of being treated as the guest. So where dating is concerned, that is it. The other thing is, like rule number, I guess we're going to call it rule number 2, is if somebody, I know what it's like to be turned down, said no to, even mocked. when asking a person out. And I know like how devastating that is, because usually people not only put a lot of time into the asking a person out, they already have the activities and the things that they want, that they would like to do with the person that they're asking out. And, to me, it seems like that's such a waste. And so I always say yes. Sometimes we have to fit it in my schedule. I used to have a very tight schedule on how I went out and stuff like that. And it, tried to fit and work with the person who, asked me schedule. And there had been, especially when I was in college, there had been large things where I, did not even have the time to ask somebody else, to be the person paying, as it were. I did not have the time to actually, request other people, because so much of my time was being taken up by requests to do things. And, I like that. It's crazy. It's hard to keep track of. And I think it's one of the main reasons why I had what I called my fan club in college, because there was a lot of people who were vying for my time, and they got it because I didn't tell them no. There was a lot of jealousy. There was a lot of in stuff that I actually wasn't privy to when this was going on. And I think that I kind of wish, in a small way, I kind of wish that I did know, because I would have actually stopped it. I don't see people as objects. I don't see people as, something for me to own. And I think that I feel that way is because I can't tell you how many people that I've been with have tried to possess me. And I know that feeling, and I don't like it. I've never liked it. And that goes to, when people think that they're winning, me as a prize, if they didn't figure it out, I never was the prize. I never was a prize to be had. So yeah, I always say yes. But again, saying yes, it's not just like an immediate, I drop everything and, go do the date. It's, that you have to work with me. One of the things, and I don't know if this can be considered a rule or not, but those two rules are basically, that's exactly how I did all the dates. And of course, no expectations goes into that, and there's I have a whole series of things, of how I conducted myself. But when I ask somebody out, again, no expectations, no, I'm buying this for you. I now you now have to give back to me. There was no give back. I think that that's a fundamental flaw where dating is concerned. Because again, going back to the rental girlfriend, would you make the person quit their job as basically an escort? And this could go into being a prostitute. This could go into being a stripper. This could go into being a person who does adult films and all that stuff. And I would never ask somebody, especially if it's something that they love doing, no matter what it is, I would never ask somebody to stop. And that actually goes into, it's like telling somebody to stop being who they are. And instead, I'm the exact opposite. I don't want them to stop being who they are. I want them to, basically show me who you are. But I want to learn. I want to be a part of who they are. I want to do this. I would never ask somebody to change. Definitely compatibility with me, that's a whole different story. I, don't change to be compatible with me, because eventually you're not going to be compatible with me. And I am certainly not going to change me. I'm not going to change who I am and how I do things and my silly quirks and flaws and things that might drive a person absolutely crazy. They're not fixable. That's part of me. That's who I am. And I never saw even though I'm, called myself broken, I've never thought of myself as something that needs to be fixed. I think that, even though I do change, and I'm definitely not, when I first started exploring, weird way of putting it, but when I first started exploring relationships and being with other people and how I'm interacting with other people and things of that nature, I definitely, who I was then is completely, it's night and day. And yeah, the experience plays a lot of roles in it, but there's a lot of things that I think I did right when I first started dating, to when I stopped. And I, only because of the way things were working, I changed and adapted and, fit myself into for what I wanted or what I needed from other people. And yeah, there's I don't know how long, people, before you can consider it a serious relationship. I don't know how long that period is from when you first start, from the moment you ask somebody to go out, to the moment that it's considered serious. I don't know how long that time frame is, but I do know that my longer, if I was lucky to have a relationship with somebody, it lasted 2 weeks and usually ended after 2 weeks. And we would occasionally, do activities and things like that together, but not in a dating thing. And a lot of the people that I've dated moved on to other people, and some of them actually, did it out of spite and, did it to be mean to me. And it's like, well, our relationship's over, this was, we took the shot. We tried to make it work. It didn't work. I mean, I will always be the one constant, Sean is always in all of my failed relationships. So if I have to, put blame, point a finger, and stuff like that, how because I did not have a lot of amicable, nice. Mostly they were, I was dealing with different people, different personalities, and different, people, how people interacted back with me. But the one constant was always me, and it's the reason why I take, not part blame, because everybody says it takes two. I don't take part blame. I take all of it. The reason that the relationship failed is because I wasn't committed enough, I guess, and I definitely wasn't the person um, that the people I was dating were looking for. They thought I was. That's why you start dating, right? That's you try to you figure those things out. Um, I had a woman ask me out, and I explained to her, yeah, sure, when are you looking to do this, and when do you want to, all these things, and she spent a lot of money on me, and when we planned it out, and she had the expectation that I would ask her out like almost immediately, after, because here she is. She showed me this incredible, and I had a lot of fun, and but the timing, of that was rather unfortunate because I was fitting her into my schedule, and she used that. She used it. You talk about like using your time wisely. She used the one date to go all out, and it was a high expectation of me to pretty much return the favor, and I we definitely didn't see um, eye to eye. She did buy me a lot of things. I gave her all of it back. Um, um, and there were a few things that she basically broke and gave back to me, but that doesn't matter. But yeah, she didn't buy me, and um, that's that's kind of a really weird way to put it. But again, that's why I must say, let's not have any expectations of each other ever. Let's get to know each other. Let's find out things that we like. You know, find out our dreams and our hopes, and where we see ourselves, and what the path our path has now converged, and it's going to probably split again way, so we should just enjoy the time we have together. And I've always been like that, and I don't know if it is to save me from heartbreak or heartache. I've had people tell me that I'm very cold, and I'm a crybaby. I definitely throw myself into way too much. But when it becomes like using the loud noises as an example, when it becomes a routine and you build upon that and you're working something, the emotion, that's a give or take. Um, it it's I know that I replaced the first 4 videos because of microphone issues. But you go back, even those things, you go back to there, and you can see that there was definitely a lot more. As my singing improved, my emotional attachment to the songs was decreasing, and when I started writing the parodies, I kind of got back into that, where I could be, put some emotion into it, in how the songs are sung. But it by before the last song, because I actually got very emotional on the last song, but because it was ending, and I think that's what I think that it's not the song itself that got to me. It's the fact that I knew that, one, it's definitely for the best that I stop. Stop doing it as regularly as I can, because the songs aren't as special. I would love to, like, on a whim, do the song that took like 10 minutes to make and just produce that. It's one of my favorite songs, and I just did it like that. Click, click. It, and I say 10 minutes, and the majority of the time with that 10 minutes was spent, actually singing the song, actually downloading the song, and then publishing the song. Uploading the song to the channel, and publishing it. That's what took almost the bulk of the time of making it. If I had to really say, to when I wrote it to when I sang it, you're getting down into, like, seconds. I wrote it so fast. When I wrote the description, I had to actually correct a lot of the lyrics, and I still think that it's not as corrected as it could be. I would love to do that. It's faster. One, bigger turnaround. The impact of the song from me, it kind of exposes, that rawness that you rarely see in songs. I mean, the 100 noises loud. That I practiced and practiced and practiced. That was not definitely not on a whim. And it I think that the practices, I wish that I filmed the practices, because I think that they came out better, because I didn't have that, camera rolling, have to make this good, and the finality of it. And I think that really affected the video. It only because I was trying to match Freddie Mercury. I think it is one of my worst. But I love the parody. The parody is awesome. It really shows a lot of things. I think I definitely mentioned what my favorite of the parodies, and it's the technically third parody that I did, but it is, really the first one that I did. Well, no, it wasn't. Would really. It's the second parody in Loud Noises too, but I did the Nux parody, um, way before, and again that one. You compare that. I have two Hamilton parodies sung in two different, completely different months with different equipment and different ways of doing things because I was still working out how I was going to do everything. And it's, you can definitely see that, I really wanted that parody, the original, to work. That's an overlay. That was still when I was doing because the music came out like nothing, and I was really, singing. I was almost screaming the lyrics. The good news about that it is a voice, kind of a boisterous song. So I was able to do that. And then adding the music in secondary, I could actually control the volume of the music. So it actually worked. That worked out very well for me, being able to control it because you'll see, especially when I get into the later videos, I had the microphone too close to the laptop speakers, and the music came out really loud. But before that, I have some songs where the music you can't even hear the music playing in the background. So I never really got that down to like a happy medium between the music and the lyrics. I definitely don't like wearing the headphones because I have trouble controlling my pitch, knowing where my pitch is, and things like that. So that's one of the things with having the headphones on because already having trouble hearing and now muffled, even though the music's getting driven right into my ears, I don't hear I don't hear what I'm actually seeing. A good example of that is Waste, because I definitely struggled with that song. I couldn't even get it to fit the music, and I sang it with the music. So, what does that have to do with dating? Like I said, when asked these questions, it's just having fun. Like that's why do people put so much pressure on themselves? And I understand that there's a lot of people that it might be the first time that they're dating, and or they haven't dated in many years and now they're starting to date again and stuff like that. But this isn't this person isn't your wife. She might become your wife. Nobody knows. I can't predict the future for you, and you definitely can't predict what's going to happen in the future. You're now using games theory. You're now adding in the equation another person who has all those expectations, all those things that they want from their future, and just no matter how close they might seem, they're usually miles apart of what they're going to expect, especially if you first met somebody. Yes, there's a lot of people out there, and I'm definitely not one of them, that change who they are because they feel that this will get them closer to the person that they're dating. And I definitely have dated a lot of people like that, who definitely, will put up. Oh, if you're not into comic books and stuff like that, and you meet me, you're faking love of comic books is going to destroy you. Especially when I find you can't figure out which comic books that either I don't know, which is not very many, but which series, artists and things like that. Why do you love comic books? I have no problem with somebody who just basically says, I am definitely not interested in that. Or I would like to become interested in it because you like it, let's see this thing. But if you don't start to love comic books, because you weren't exposed to it, and I know that there's like a comic books is probably a bad example. Dungeons and Dragons is probably the best example. Um, I can't tell you how many people that I've met who grew up where Dungeons and Dragons was concerned, where because they were a woman, a girl, because they were a girl, because that they weren't even allowed to play Dungeons and Dragons with the boys. And like my mind goes, why? Why would people kick out somebody, who has an interest in this stuff, for this? And it, like that, I have to admit, I was probably being born a boy and having that acceptance into nerd culture and stuff like that. I I I don't I don't know what I would have done if I was actually born a girl. I don't think I would have enjoyed it at all. I don't want to fight people, for my passion. I want to share. And the fact that there were, groups and stuff like that, and I definitely did not witness it. And again, I think it's because of my gender that I did not witness, the exclusion of women in games. Um, I know that video gaming culture has, just so you know, women could be um, the reason why they have to separate guys from girls, because women should dominate computer games. They should just dominate. They have better reflexes. They have better hand-eye coordination, better dexterity, and agility out the wazoo. It could be because a culture of typists. Most computers. We call laptops and stuff like that computers, but computers was a designation. It was a job. You could be a fireman or firefighter and a police officer, and you could be a computer. It was a job. It wasn't an actual machine. Computers were almost completely dominated by females. It was all females. Typists were almost all females. I can't freaking. I type like crap. I do my best, but I type like crap. Um, Most women probably blow me out of the freaking water, and they should dominate. That just having that alone. Um, Multitasking. I think women dominate on more than men. Um, brute strength. Brute strength isn't anything actually. Isn't worth much. I mean, that's why we have machines. Most machines do the jobs that men have been, that men dominate forever. I'm gonna find out who said the quote, but I don't know why women want to have equal rights to men, because women are superior. is so true. Um, it's why would you want to be, you know, why would you want to lower yourself to be equal? Um, I know that the patriarch and society and stuff like that um, basically abuses the fact that women are so much better than men, um, and it hurts women. And I am, you can call me a feminist, you can call me a liberal, you can call me whatever, libtard. I don't care what the fuck you call me. It doesn't change what is. It's like people's races. That's why I don't, we're only one race. We're the human race. We're all Homo sapiens sapien. I mean, where do you get, what other race is there? You know, the color of your skin, the culture that you grew up in, all that stuff is awesome. It's fascinating. It's great for what it is, but it should not be a determining factor in where intelligence is concerned, where um, you know the learning. There isn't one. The color of your skin does not determine your capacity to learn, your capacity to love. Does not diminish it in any way, shape, or form, no matter what. Even even white people are in the same friggin' boat. Um, the color of your skin doesn't stop you from having flaws. Doesn't stop you from the your culture, the culture that you're raised in. And America is a culture. It's actually, I think it's several different cultures, and we like to divide ourselves up. North and south and east and west and north, south, east, west, coasty, inland, all that stuff. We just always like to throw those things around. All they do is just separate and diminish the ability to be unified. All those things. It's the reason why freaking Civil War was fought, to stop something like that. And I not to say that I agree with the South that the war wasn't won, but that war still goes on, and for no reason. The we like to put people in these little boxes. I can't think of who sang it, little boxes, but like to put people in little boxes, and you know yes, everybody's a different color, but they're all friggin' the same. We're all the same. Um, the individual the individual is different. What makes you you? That always fascinates me. And yes, your culture could play a role in why you made decisions for your education and whatnot and this, but ultimately the work was done by the individual. The things are done by the individual. Um, the it does not fighting against the stereotypes of the labels that you have. It also changes how you got to the point of who you are, but it still doesn't change who you fundamentally are. A person's nature doesn't tend to change. Um, doesn't tend it doesn't improve. It doesn't tends to not change is probably wrong. It does change. It evolves. It doesn't revolutionary. People can go against their own nature, but in as much as they fight against their own nature, eventually nature will win. So it's but they could have their nature evolved. It's part of adaptation. It's part of this thing, but it's an evolution, not definitely not a revolution. Um, most of that's done to people who are abusers or bullies. I don't think bullies, people who are inherently just having that evilness inside them. I don't. I think that basically most bullies just become better bullies. And most people who have things, who most people who've been bullied, only know or only seek the gratification by becoming the bully themselves instead of becoming better. Instead of working on the who they are, they'd rather tear down other people and stuff like that. I think that it's sad. It can evolve into that's something that's where it evolves into people's nature. Um, and some people have that disposition all along. It's just that they just didn't feel that they had the power. But people's natures, I use my nature all the time. You know, like being called into work. Um, got called into work. Somebody called out or felt ill or whatever, and I'll get called into work. And instead of refusing it, which is in my best interest is to refuse these things. Absolutely, it would be so much better for me monetarily if I just tell them no. Because what happens when I go in and I do a half day or a partial day or something like that, it takes away from a full day. So if I have a full day's work planned in my schedule, but I get called in on my day off, um, like a Sunday, um, I lose that full day. So basically, I lose hours for the half day. But in turn, that seems like, oh, Sean just lost 4 hours. What's 4 hours, right? 4 hours. Well, I tend to work 6 days a week. So you look at those 4 hours and you say, oh, 4 hours. Sean just lost 4 hours. And it's only one day. One day and he loses 4 hours. But I work over. I get overtime. So not only do I lose those 4 hours, those are 4 hours of overtime. It digs right into my overtime because I don't have, instead of having 56 hours under my belt, I now have 52 hours. So I now have time and a half. So that's actually 6 hours that I just lost with that. And I have to admit, it hurts. Financially hurts me. But today, called in, did it. Last week, called in, did it. Got called in on Wednesday. That was going to be my day off. And worked 4 hours. And actually, technically, I lost 5 hours then, which is 7.5 hours um, of pay that I've lost. That takes that is basically literally stripped out of my paycheck. And yes, I don't get to pay the taxes on it, but the taxes aren't that well. They are about 30. I pay about 30% taxes. So yeah. So there it is. But those things hurt. I have to tighten my belt. I have to make concessions in how I do things because I'm losing those hours. I can't expect them. Um, I'm I'm still spending about the same amount of gas and still spending the same amount of wear and tear on my car to drive to and from work when those things happen. It's I still have to pay that. That comes out of my pay. So whether I work a 9-10 hour day or whether I work 3 or 4 hours, It's the cost of me doing that is the same. It's the reason why I would prefer the longer days. I don't want longer days. I definitely would prefer to have a shorter day, but it hurts. It hurts. When I have 3 or 4 days of partial days and stuff like that, it's that hurts even more too. So it's not even in my best interest to be efficient at my job, because the faster I can get done, the less money I make. It's just not efficient. And my nature, instead of just basically saying no, I can say no. I can just outright refuse. You know, they've even threatened me with consequences of my actions, and I'm like going, yeah, you threaten me with consequences for my actions, and I can just threaten you right back with consequences for your actions. I mean, that's we can I can pick that fight, but they need help, and my nature is to help, and I've always been that way. I've always given help even when not asked. That's my nature. And I sometimes don't like that about myself. I've sometimes fought against that. Um, it is definitely the reason that before I transferred offices, I blew up at that one person, because all they've done the entire time I've known them is just taken advantage of the fact that I will just take it from them. And I just, I guess because I was leaving, I just, I don't have to take it anymore. And that's me fighting against my nature. And I lost my cool, which does not happen. But I've already lost my cool with them once before. So I mean, I've lost my cool twice, and it's the same. It's interactions. I'm the one who lost the cool. It's my responsibility. People always say, "Oh, you blame them for this thing," but it's the interaction with one person, and I I definitely don't like that. Yeah, it's kind of like I guess I would just rather eat shit than freaking feel that way, because that feeling. And just so you know, I think that was the best thing for me to basically lose my cool. Like, it's really bizarro, but I still don't like it. Um, Still don't like it. Um, when it's like when I tell people that I'm probably not long for this job, this occupation, and they remind me, oh, you're going to give up your career. And I was like going, how long have I've been doing this, and and how long have you always told me that I'm not career, that I'm literally a part timer working full time hours, I'm overtime hours. I have never been career. This is not a career. I have nothing saving for bonus. I do not get a pension. I do not get any of that stuff that a person who has a career in the job that I'm doing right now. I am, stuck at the lowest token on the totem pole, and it's the reason why it's easy for me to transfer, because there's, being that low down, everybody needs more workers. Part timers are a dime a dozen. Um, and yeah, I could fit in any place, because with this position that I'm in right now with work, but I'm doing it for 8 years. It's definitely it's definitely coming to an end, and it's not giving up a career, just giving up a job, worthless, useless job. that likes to cut into my pay. Like they think that I want to be, like the work itself. Like it's not. I have never experienced any sort of satisfaction with the work that I do. I have never woke up in the morning going, I can't wait to take on the day and meet these challenges. And I have never come home after work thinking that I'm feeling any type of fulfillment or never. I can't, not a single day at my work. And if I go career, I don't know if going career will ever, I don't think I'll ever see a day like that because of how badly I've been treated. So yeah, me thinking about leaving is, I think about it every day. And with minimum wages freaking shooting through the roof and stuff like that, what I'm getting paid right now, that's exactly what they pay people who just walk in the door. So I might as well be like a freaking brand new newbie, even though I'm 8-year freaking veteran. It's little discerning. Why? What good do they do for me? But they're always like, oh, help me out, Sean. Can you do this for me? Oh, can you do that? And again, my nature, I do those things. I complain a lot. That's probably part of my nature as well. But, I'm the one that comes in on a pinch, covers. And it's to my detriment. Not, no good deed goes unpunished at my work. The better you are at your job, the less you make. There's no benefit. And then people like the person that I was fighting with, who is career, think that they have it like that and think that they can step on me. And they have stepped on me. They've stepped on me for 3 years. They've been stepping on me since the day they met me, which was now almost 7 years ago. And I'm tired. I'm tired. Just tired of it all. And I know this was talking about dating and stuff like that, but dating, like how people interact is, I think, essential. Why do people, when they start dating, and this is like starting dating people, this is like, I just met you, quit your job. Why? What are you bringing to the table? Why? And maybe it's because I don't understand what it means to basically financially support somebody who just quit their job while you're dating them. What happens when you guys break up? Does that financial support go away? Did you just destroy whatever career that this person had, or break the dreams that they wanted to because you wanted them to stop doing the very thing that probably is the reason that you met? I don't understand it. Why? And why would you be so jealous? What is that? How does I like to think, and I could be completely off the mark here, and somebody could probably correct me if I'm wrong. I like to think that we're striving with everything that we do to be better. And when everybody else is doing that to be better, discovering who you are, I think, can be a detriment to what you see as being better, and you can't see that revealing yourself. And I'm not talking about like, showing your face or, putting yourself in danger. What I'm saying, what I mean by exposing yourself is like, exposing like the things that you're afraid of and the things that, get you down sometimes, and the things that, don't make you happy, instead of always being, on the happy, 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 joy, joy, joy train. It when you just, show that who you are, you know, it as much fun as some of the people that I have dated over the years I've had. The one thing that always kind of persists is that if we're not compatible, you don't like science fiction. Holy, science fiction. I can understand somebody not understanding science fiction. I can understand somebody like discovering science fiction, or, um, you know, liking some aspect of it, but not really being, a sci-fi head. And I could definitely, get into that. I will definitely, the things that they like about science fiction, I will definitely try to discover, because that's a passion of mine. But there are people, and people that I've dated that absolutely hate that stuff. You know, and want zero part of it. And as fun as being with those people are, and like I said, I can live a life outside of that, but we're never going to continue on dating. I mean, that's that's lunacy. You know, you get to have that aspect of my life and be a part of that aspect of my life, but also be aware that there's definitely women out there that have that aspect of, have the same aspects that you like, that you want to do, like roller coaster rides. There are people who hate science fiction but love roller coaster rides. I love roller coaster rides. So, but let's say that that's what keeps us going to amusement parks and going out on dates for however long that takes. And then I meet somebody who likes science fiction and also likes roller coaster rides. I mean, who am I going to spend more time with? And what you physically look like does not matter. It doesn't even matter. Um, the theater. I met somebody. I was acting at the time. She was also part of um, that whole thing. I thought we got along really well. We definitely talked about the theater, 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 theater. It seemed to be the one common thread. I asked her out on a date. She said yes. I um, saw that Candide was playing in New York, and she didn't know Candide very well, but I think it's a um, I think it's an excellent play, and for somebody who all I have with that person is theater, theater, theater. Um, I was thinking that, well, maybe this is a way to broaden the horizon. Go the fan club, because this was in college, that I had at the time, even told me that this is the stupidest idea possible. What do you hope to gain? And it was like, I bought the tickets. I'm going to, we're going to do that. Fortunately, from my college, we could take a train right into New York, pretty much right onto Broadway. Um, I, afforded the cab to go. I think it was only like 3 blocks, but we were dressed up, so I didn't want to mess up anything, and we saw the play. Um, it it went everything. Here I am, like acting like, oh, she didn't say that she didn't like theater anymore. But I definitely realized when I were discussing the play and discussing the works behind the play, especially Voltaire and all the other stuff that goes along. It's a jam packed play, which she slept through part of it. Um, and it's a jam packed play, and there's so much to unpack and talk about and everything like that. That when we were done, we had almost a 45-minute train ride um, home, um, and I mean we had dinner before, and we were talking about all this wonderful stuff. Uh, Again, not Four Seasons, but it was a decent restaurant. It was a nice restaurant. Italian, Italian before play is always good to have. Um, but yeah, saw the play, and um, pretty much I was like bursting with like all the things I wanted to talk about. How she enjoyed it, and parts she missed, and things like that. And she was under the assumption that I was doing this to basically get in her pants. That's it. And I was like, the play. The play. Let's talk about the play. All we do is talk about theater. And you've already seen me naked because we did hair together. And 6 degrees of separation. That made me with no expectations. Look at that. I that was my expectation. Well, that's what I wanted. And I definitely didn't want her. She offered to pay me for it. Um, Once I realized where our relationship was, um, especially when she offered to pay me for it, and I was like going, something you want to do, use the money there. Don't we're not going Dutch. But you don't have to. You don't have to invite me. We don't have to date. We don't have to have anything. And I think that really having that perspective, especially where my dating is concerned. Like I said, my fan club literally was telling me what a freaking moron and stupid person I was, and I'm just throwing away money to a person who can have any guy she wants. And I'm like going, yeah, but she said yes to this guy. And I think that I think to the fan club, they were just basically, they saw her as a threat. And here she was getting something that some of them never got from me, which was me paying for a date. Or maybe they saw the date, because I could have asked any single one of them. And I've had, I've had times where especially going to conventions and things like that, where I'm going to a convention and I ask somebody not part of the fan club. I think this is what the fan club never understood, because it kept growing, because I kept having, these, short-lived relationships with women. Um, and That's why they hung out outside my door a lot of the days. Like not every day. Like here I am thinking, treating it like this huge mob, but this is a group of women. I don't think, yeah, there were no guys involved in the fan club, but it was a group of women who basically stayed in constant contact with me. Asked me how my things were going, knew my schedule, changed their some changed their classes, so that they knew what classes I was in, and they were in the classes with me. They did a lot of things that, kind of scary, kind of creepy, but very endearing, and um, I never hated them. Um, I had always hoped, some went on to and have wonderful relationships, and move past it, and I guess they just choked it up as being this was their college years. Um, but um, Talking about the fan base itself, um, my fan club. Talking about the fan club, my fan club itself. Like I said, um, I don't want my subscribers to be my fan club in that respect. Um, it's it's mm. But like I said, I was always kind of attached to them, and I always kind of, and I guess in a way I encouraged it to continue, which has probably even made it even worse. But yeah, I think that they just didn't like, um, this beautiful girl that I took to New York, um, to see a play. And yeah, I'm on a college budget. You know, I had to work part time, make the money to, do that, and it definitely money I spent definitely hurt into other activities that I wanted to do. But it's what I wanted to do, and so I did it. And um, that girl, she never really joined the fan club, but she definitely stayed in touch, and definitely, um, I think she didn't like the fan club. She didn't, as far as wanting to be a part of it. I think she was just like, you know. And I think when we first met, I don't think she was pretty too aware of them. Um, I think, was she there for for hair? She's definitely there for 6 degrees of separation, but I don't think she was there for hair. No, I don't think. I don't think we. Yeah, never mind. She only saw me naked for 6 degrees of separation. Um, for some reason, I my life had always been clothing optional anyway. So yeah, uh, that if you're like going, oh, I seen Sean naked. I mean, like you're one of 100,000 or so people that have actually seen me naked. So yay! We didn't even need to date. You've seen me naked. Um, and probably more people have seen me naked than I like to say. Um, I have a point here with this whole thing. Um, yeah, I would say she didn't like the fan club, but like it's that thing, like, I never really asked. I didn't ask out the fan club. I would always ask out somebody new, somebody I met, somebody I had a conversation with. If I was in a comic store and, you know, somebody came in and were very interested in this, and we're playing a game, or, I was part of the gaming club at college, and if they were part of the gaming club and stuff like that, and there's a gaming convention going on, I would invite them. And a few people caught on to that, and pretended. And like I said, it doesn't help. It doesn't help to not be interested in something that I want to do. But yeah, when I invite somebody out, they already know. I've already given them the rules. I'm paying. So so why the hell did they want to go to a gaming convention now when they know that I'm on the hook for this date? Let's go dancing. Let's go do this stuff. And I'm like, I have driven right back to their house and dropped them off, and then basically called up people depending on who they are in the fan base, depending on who they were in the fan club, I would call up the ones that would most likely. I would try to be, the ones that would most likely enjoy, doing this with me, and I can easily, drop, you know, easily drop, I don't have to be with the person. I have, other people that I can ask who would more than happy to be in your shoes. Some going to that convention, and more than happy to, give their ticket away, so that I could have, I could, pay for them. Or, sell their ticket, or whatever the hell they did with it. They can do whatever they want. And that's how. So as far as like, and have I dated strippers? Yes. Have I dated people in the porn industry? Yes. Have I dated people who had jobs that were kind of sketchy? Yes. Yes. All over the place. I've even dated a woman who wanted to be a professional wrestler, and I can't tell you whether she became one or not. And I'm using the term dating loosely, but going out on a date is dating to me. Just a date. I'm not datings. I'm just dating. And if you go on a date, a single date with somebody, you are dating. It's a date. And I actually consider going, hanging out with the guys, playing pool or something like that. That's a date. That's a date. It's palling around, but it's a date. I put the date in the calendar. Circled it. I don't. I have to say. I have to admit. I really don't know how humans survive. I think that maybe I am really weird, and this is strange. This is you got a strange concept of how to do things. From I like going. That's what works for me. Here I am saying like going out. If you go on a date, and I guess we didn't really go on dates, but I was only sleeping with married women or women in strong relationships because I did not want that. Did not want to be in the relationship. I had a whole phase of that, and darn near killed me. So, but I would only date people who were attached. I personally have never, in any relationship that I had, where the woman has asked me to become monogamous. I have never cheated on anyone. Not not even for a grudge or anything like that. I have called off relationships, and I've had started up other relationships where the person who I've called off the relationship with thought that I was just kidding and joking about, and you wouldn't see that through. Yeah, you grabbed your clothes and your toothbrush and stuff like that, but we're still dating, right? And it's like, no, we're over. That's the other thing, and it's something that I think the fan club never. It's the reason why the fan club never truly broke it off. But when you break up with somebody, it's over. There's no do-over. There's no second chance. I'm this rule I've broken probably the most of all the rules. All the rules, just so you know, all the rules that I'm saying have been broken, a bunch of times. I have had been asked out on a date, and I have paid for it. The end result was absolutely horrific. It was a horrible date. I have been put in situations where I had to leave in the middle of the date, where my safety and I would even say to a certain extent the safety of the person that I was with has been compromised, and instead of being the bigger person and rescuing the person, because this is their date, and being the bigger person and rescuing the person, I saved myself and cost me money. I have had poor planning on dates, where I end up being the person. I end up driving, and using my gas, and being very unimpressed by the person, even though they paid for pretty much everything. I have had been on dates where women have skipped out on the check. And I have to admit, as soon as I pull out my wallet, the date's over. If you invited me out and I have to then pay for this, the date is over. And how you do, and what happens to you doesn't matter to me. And I know it sounds cold, and I know it sounds mean, and I know, I've had people trick me into that, that type of thing. And, I've had people buy me plane tickets and fly me places, and where I have to basically, oh, they only paid for one way, so I have to pay the way home. And literally, as soon as I landed, I literally got back in line, got back on the plane, and flew back. I've done that. But as far as the one that the rule that I've broken, here I'm going a tirade of all the other rules that I've broken, but I've broken them a lot too. But probably the one I've broken the most is once it's over, it's over. I have never gotten back together with somebody and the situation improved. Whatever the reason is that we broke up, I mean, I've been stabbed because of that. Whatever the reason that we broke up, and I don't want to see that person ever again. Whatever those reasons are, they should stand. I definitely cannot be bullied into being your possession again. I don't belong. I never. Of everybody, and this includes everybody I've dated across the spectrum. I've never belonged to them. We've chose to spend time together. I love that. There are definitely women that have made me feel like a better person being with them. But if whatever the reason is that we broke up, and it, like I said, it could just be me, just could be my attitude, it could be my laissez-faire, and it could be the fact that I'm still a boy, when I should be an adult. I should be more responsible, and I don't, and I that's probably part of my nature as well. And relationships end. But yeah, never get back together. It doesn't matter how much, a 9 month relationship seems like a lot. Usually when I got past the 2 weeks, I had always thought those relationships were going to last forever, because if you could break the 2 week threshold, there's more to to being with that person than 2 weeks. The longest relationship that I had when I was still dating was on and off. I gotta even make sure you guys understand that it's on and off. Technically, it broke the 9 months straight threshold, but it was on and off for 3 years. And mostly off because we broke up 9 times. And what a freaking nightmare that was. I can't speak for her, but I would assume that it was pretty much a nightmare for her as well. And my property. I'm just assuming that it was a nightmare. I mean, like I said, I'm the only constant in all those relationships, and it really proved beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like I said, we broke up 9 times. Got back together with her 9 freaking times. And some of the times I got back together with her, I didn't even realize I was back together with her. All of a sudden, she was just there. She just made herself, a presence in my life again while I was already moving on. But yeah, 9 times before it finally, police let her drive drunk when she showed up at my house and took my car apart and stuff like that. So, yay, not fun times. When I was dating, she showed up at my house that she did not know that I lived there because I didn't give her my address. And I still don't count that as us getting back together because we didn't get back together. But she did say that I was hers, and I'm hiding in here even though I'm the one who signed the lease. And she followed me home. That's craziness. That's insanity. We were broken up. She cheated on me. Gone, done, over. And if I wasn't dating somebody new, she probably, if I was by myself, because I, like, contrary to popular belief, I actually did spend a lot of time by myself, not dating people. And that's how she got back together with me so much. And that's probably what she was trying to figure out what she was going to do. But yeah, the place that I moved out of, I gave a forwarding address. That's how she found me. I also think she followed me. But yeah, so nine times. And I definitely learned that lesson. I can't stress how much I know how much it hurts when the breakup happens. I know how you think that you're this person I'm with is the one. Guilty song, somebody I used to know, how this was supposed to be so much more than it was. I think that you should go through that hurt. I think you should understand why you're hurting. And I don't think you should close yourself off to other people, but I don't think you should allow a person to hurt you like that again. I think you should really not allow another person to hurt you like that again. That's the same person to hurt you like that again. No matter what, it could have been your fault, their fault, somebody's fault, whatever's fault. Again, you're the only constant in all your bad relationships. How do you improve if you keep going back? Insanity is banging your head against the wall, expecting the same thing. The definitely, and I will stand by this, and people can say that, oh no, she was the one for me, and we got back together, and we had 7 beautiful children, blah blah blah. So good for you. I'm glad it worked out, but maybe you shouldn't have broken up in the first place, because it sounds like you were already meant to be together. I'm talking about like bad breakups. You broke up because you left the water running or something, or left the refrigerator door open. I don't know what stupid reason could you freaking break up with somebody and get back together and freaking everything's going to be fine. Whatever the reason is you broke up, that's going to haunt your freaking relationship. So, and if you cheat on a person that you're dating, you should break up with them. Like, why would you stay together with a person? And don't ask for them back. Torture not only them but yourself. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you hurt somebody like that? I mean, if they know that you're engaged in relationships with other people, that's a whole different story, and not going to get into that, because I think that if somebody knows that you're dating others while you're dating somebody, it's not cheating. Um, if they want to know who they are, let them know who they are. Let them know what maybe they see them as competition, maybe whatever like this. But you got to talk about that stuff, you know. But cheating, you know, my penis doesn't accidentally, you know, go anywhere without my knowledge. I mean, I know I keep talking about how it thinks for itself and does whatever it wants, but it doesn't go into things that I don't want it to go into. That doesn't accidentally happen. I don't accidentally start, you know, playing tongue wrestling with a girl I barely know. It doesn't accidentally happen. I don't care how drunk I was. I don't care how many, you know, drugs I was on at the time. Obviously, if I'm passed out on the floor, I think I get a pass. If somebody basically molests me and rapes me and stuff like that, I get a pass if I'm passed out on the floor for cheating. But if I am conscious and no matter how inebriated or whatever I was, I can still fight off advances. I can still say no. And you're right, I can be forced into it, and I don't count being forced into it. Being forced into it is rape. And have I been raped? Yes. That's why. That is why I say I've never cheated on somebody. I don't count that. Don't count that as cheating. That's why I hate bullies so much. I mean, people talk about rapists like they're something more than a bully. That's what they are. They're just a bully. Hate bullies. But yeah, it doesn't. You didn't like. Oh, we were just doing, and how did this happen? No, it doesn't how. There's no how this happened. It should never happen. And why did it happen? Because you freaking are freaking lousy cheat. And like I said, I've been cheated on a lot. But I've also dated a lot. So there's kind of like you have that. I kind of have that balance in there. But yeah, I don't set the ground rules half the time. Like I said, I keep my expectations down to nothing almost, so I don't expect anything. You're right. I like my Candide story. I was expecting to talk about the play, but I don't know if that should be considered an expectation, or not, because that's the discussions that we were having beforehand. That's the reason why if as beautiful as she was, as beautiful as she is, and as wonderful all the personality and everything like that she had, I never would have taken her to a play in New York if that wasn't one of the things that we spent a lot of time talking to each other about. I thought it was her interest. Turns out she's not even interested in that stuff. Maybe she's just humoring me. She thought I was a theater nerd or something like that, and I really not. I do know plays. I love plays. I grew up, with the theater and stuff like that, which is the reason why I have such a, robust background with it. I thought it was her interest. And definitely when she told me she's never seen a Broadway play, I was like, that's what we should do. And I'm not going to see something stupid like, I don't even know if Cats is even playing. But originally I was thinking about going to see Jekyll and Hyde. But once I saw Candide, I was like, that's the play. That's the play. Jim Daly, Pete's Dragon. That's the play. um, but yeah, I don't know if I really count that as an expectation because we didn't talk. Again, we didn't talk about. In fact, I don't even think that. I think that solidified how our conversations from there on out went. To any question that you had is yes. To our relationship moving forward. I'm not a savage. Um, and I am a man, and you know, give them what they want. I guess is pretty much my view of everything. I But yeah, we I'm trying to think if we even did another play together because I think I started work, and I know she secretly wanted. We were. Well, I know that one of our last conversations. I'm trying to think if it was the last conversation I had with her, but she was going to do Star Trek stuff. We did talk about Star Trek. We talk about nerdy things, but I know she was doing it for me, so it's a whole different story. Um, you know, she was definitely, um, she was definitely, being happy. She was happy to be, that person with me. Um, and she was definitely gorgeous, so it did not hurt. She definitely liked to dress up, and she the last thing, and we never did it, so I don't even know why I'm saying it, but one of the last conversations that I had with her, she was going to do green body paint and be an Orion slave girl, so Star Trek, and I was going to be a Klingon. So um, that tells you how things progressed there. But yeah, so um, um, the reason I bring her up is because it's one of the wonderful conversations. I kind of still consider this is where I talk about my fan club. I kind of considered her part of the fan club, even though she never really interacted with any of the people in the fan club, and they used to talk amongst each other all the time. Um, and with new members joining every day. Some of the people in the fan club I did not even go on a date with. So that tells you how like the fan club was working. So that wasn't even part of it. But whenever we went, whenever we went to a bar and had a beer or anything like that, they were just in the fan club. They just you know part swept up in that momentum, and it always kind of amazed me. And um, it was, I think the fan club was one of the first things where Facebook was concerned that I purged out friend wise, and never recovered it again. Did not seek out the people, and none of them actually came back to try to. I don't even think there's a couple. I think there's a couple following me on Twitter, But that's about it. Just to, like to following me on Twitter. Um, but yeah, so those are the rules. It took me almost 2 hours to just get down, just to talk about the rules and craziness and everything like that. Um, again, we have an empty chat, so um, I didn't even see. I think I was watching, um, not the last one, the one before, Unscripted 2. Yeah, the hour one where I thought I lost the. It was, this is 5, so 3. It was probably 3. Unscripted 3, where I thought I lost the stream, and so I typed something for the chat, so the chat would show up. I don't even think the chat. I watched the whole thing, and I didn't even see me actually doing this. So maybe it did get cut out. Maybe I will have to watch it again. Um, but anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful day, and cool beans. All right, take care.